If you feel stuck in your English learning journey, if you are not sure, what's the right way to study English, what's the best way to make the most progress in the least amount of time, then you clicked on the right video. Welcome back to all of my amazing students and subscribers in today's Deep Work English lesson. We are going to learn English with a story. This story is called The Empty Pot, and it's taken from ancient China, one of my favorite stories of all time. I'm super excited to share it with you guys today. Here's the plan. We will begin with a quick read of the story. Yeah, just a brief look at it, a quick look at the story to get a general feel for the story, a basic idea of the story. Then we will have a vocabulary breakdown, really dissecting, really taking a closer look at some of the more challenging, the more difficult words and language used in the story. In part 3, we will go back to the story for a deep dive, really picking it apart. This is the most substantial, the most important part of this lesson. So I highly recommend you stick around or keep watching for part 3. We're going to go line by line, sentence by sentence, and make sure that we understand everything crystal clear, 100%. In part 4, we will have a vocabulary quiz to check and see how well you remembered all of the new words from today. And finally, at the very end of today's full and free lesson, we will have speaking practice questions. Yeah, we will have an opportunity, a chance to develop our spoken English as well. If all of that sounds good, I want to ask you guys a small favor. Click like on this video, leave me a comment letting me know where you are watching from, and maybe even become a channel member to get a PDF of today's lesson, plus hours of bonus videos. All right, let's jump in. Okay, my friends, here we are at part 1, the quick read of the story. Once again, just to reiterate, just to remind you, in this part of the lesson, all you need to do is sit back, relax, and listen. I will read the story to you quickly the first time. It will probably just take a couple of minutes. Here we go. Once upon a time in ancient China, there was an emperor who had no heir and needed to find someone to succeed him. He came up with a clever plan to find the most honest child in the land. The emperor called all the children together and handed each of them a seed. "Take this seed home and plant it," he said. "After 1 year, return and show me what you have grown. The child with the most impressive plant will be my successor." Ping, a kind and hardworking boy, was excited about this challenge. He nurtured his seed every day, making sure it had enough sunlight and water, and even talked to it in hopes it would grow. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but Ping's seed did not sprout. He tried different pots, added fresh soil, and adjusted the amount of water, but still, the seed remained stubbornly lifeless. Ping started to feel disheartened, especially when he heard other children boasting about their tall plants and bright flowers. Well, as the year passed, Ping's pot was still empty, and he felt a mix of shame and nervousness. He thought about using another seed to grow a plant, but decided against it because it wouldn't be honest. On the day they were all to return to the palace, Ping walked slowly, his hands trembling as he carried his empty pot. When he arrived, the palace was full of children holding pots brimming with impressive plants. Ping wanted to turn back, but he stood firm and joined the line. The emperor walked through the rows, observing each child's pot. He looked impressed at the colorful blooms and lush greenery. But when he reached Ping, the emperor's expression changed. He was astounded by the empty pot and asked, "Why did you bring me an empty pot, Ping?" Ping's voice shook as he replied, "Your Majesty, I tried my best. I nurtured the seed with care, but it wouldn't grow. I didn't want to use another seed because it would be dishonest." In the room, you could hear a pin drop. The emperor smiled, looking proud. "Children," he announced, "the seed I gave you all was boiled and could not grow. All of you, except Ping, replaced the seed I gave you. Only Ping had the integrity to come here with an empty pot. He shall be the next emperor because he has shown true honesty." The crowd gasped in surprise, and Ping's heart soared with relief and pride. All right, guys, that was a quick read of today's story. And as a reminder to you, if there were parts of that story you did not understand, if there was some language that felt kind of tricky, kind of challenging, kind of difficult, then don't worry, because for the rest of this video, we are going to be diving deep into this story to make sure we understand everything. And let's begin with the vocabulary breakdown. The first word I want to talk about is a verb, nurture. Yeah, nurture, nurture. This verb is really important in this story. It means to care for and encourage the growth of something. So, in other words, here are some synonyms. If you cultivate something, if you foster something, if you tend to something, then you are supporting and encouraging the growth of that thing. Maybe some antonyms or opposite words could be you neglect something so it does not grow, right? You don't give it the attention it deserves, that it needs, and so it is unable to grow. Maybe you disregard it. Yeah, you don't pay it much mind. You don't pay it much mind. You don't give it attention. You don't think it's very important, so you're not taking care of it, and it definitely won't grow that way, right? Abandoned could be an even stronger word. Abandoned, meaning that you completely give up on something. You completely throw in the towel and stop trying to take care of it at all. For example, maybe I neglect my YouTube channel for a couple weeks. I don't upload any videos, right? That's neglecting it, but it's not abandoning it. If I abandon my YouTube channel, then I stop making videos forever. That's totally abandoning the channel as opposed to neglecting it, right? But don't worry, guys. I've been nurturing my channel from the very beginning, carefully tending to my channel and my supporters, gradually cultivating a community where English learners can feel safe and welcome and supported. Here's an example from the story. He nurtured his seed with great care, right? In the story, there's this young boy, Ping, and Ping is taking care of this seed, right? But he's not just taking care of it. He is really nurturing this seed. He's fostering this seed, tending carefully to the seed. He is being very deliberate and careful and gentle with this seed, right? Here is another example sentence unrelated to the story or not related, right? The gardener nurtured the flowers to full bloom. So yeah, nurture, this word, we usually use it when we're talking about gardening, about growing something, or, maybe there's a project, something very near and dear. There's a great expression, near and dear to your heart. There's a project that's near and dear to your heart. In other words, it means a lot to you. It's very special to you. So maybe if you have a project like that, then you nurture this project. You give it a lot of love and care. Here's a question for you guys. Do you have a project in your life that you care a lot about? A project that is near and dear to you, to your heart, that you are nurturing? Let me know down in the comments section. Our second vocabulary word for today is disheartened. Disheartened. Okay, it's an adjective meaning feeling a loss of hope or confidence. So if you lose hope, if you lose confidence in yourself or in an idea or in maybe another person, then we can say you are disheartened. Some other ways of expressing this could be discouraged. Yeah, that's pretty similar. Dejected, dispirited. Yeah, these all pretty much mean the same thing. They mean that you have lost hope. You are not feeling confident anymore. Maybe you used to, but not anymore. What about antonyms? What about opposite words? Maybe encouraged. If you're feeling encouraged, then you're thinking that, yeah, this is looking good. Yeah, I have a good shot at this. I have good chances of success. If you're feeling uplifted, inspired, then that means you are feeling motivated to keep going, to keep pushing, right? You have a lot of hope. You have a lot of confidence. So these are opposite words or antonyms. In the story, we saw Ping felt disheartened as he saw other children. Why is that? Well, Ping is not able to grow his seed, right? And other kids looking around, he's noticing they are able to grow big, beautiful, incredible flowers and plants, right? While he is left feeling frustrated and disheartened. An unrelated example sentence, she felt disheartened after failing her exam. Yeah, maybe if you try really hard, you study really hard, you're going into this exam with a lot of hope, a lot of confidence. You're thinking, you know what? This is going to be a challenge, but I worked hard. I believe in myself. I know I can do it. But then the result is you fail the exam. That would be really discouraging. You would feel totally dispirited, totally dejected, totally disheartened. Now, I do want to let you guys know that these two words are pretty literary. We usually see them in books. We don't really use them in normal conversation so much. Even disheartened is a bit literary. It's something you see in novels, right? So discouraged is a better spoken English word. I'm going to draw a picture down here just for fun. Somebody looking really disheartened, really dejected, really dispirited, really discouraged. Maybe they studied hard for an exam. In the end, they failed. Now they've lost hope. They've lost confidence. Just look at that face. Ooh, they even shed a tear. If you guys are feeling disheartened about your English learning journey, if you're feeling like it's tough to make progress with your English, I have a suggestion for you. Watch my videos every day for 1 week. I think that even with 1 week, you will be able to see a big difference before and after. You will start to feel encouraged, start to feel inspired, start to feel uplifted. Your English learning journey will pick up speed and you will charge ahead, making lots of progress. Just try it for a week. I'm willing to bet the results will surprise you. Okay, now how about astounded? Astounded, greatly surprised or amazed. Okay, so we could also say astonished, stunned, and here's a really fun word, flabbergasted. I have no idea where this word came from. I might look it up when I'm editing this video and put it on the screen. Put the etymology or the history of this word on the screen, because it's such a funky word, such a goofy word, flabbergasted. Where did this word come from? Anyway, all of these mean greatly surprised or amazed, like you can't believe your eyes, right? Maybe some opposite words could be unimpressed. Indifferent is a fantastic word. Bored, right? Maybe nonplussed, we could say. Unimpressed, yeah, you look at something and you're like, doesn't do a lot for me. That doesn't do a lot for me. I'm indifferent. I don't really feel strongly about it either way. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I just feel like, kind of bored maybe. So these are opposite words. If we remember the story, the emperor was astounded by Ping's empty pot, and this was a big surprise to everyone. This is where we get the big twist in today's story, because there are all these onlookers, all of these children who have lied, right? And they've switched the boiled seed that the emperor gave them for a healthy seed, and they've grown beautiful plants and flowers. So the emperor's looking at Ping's pot, he's wide-eyed, he is totally flabbergasted, he is astonished, he is stunned by Ping's empty pot, and honestly, everybody who is watching this happen, they feel stunned as well, but they feel really confused, right? They're like, what is going on? Why is he so intrigued by Ping's empty pot? It's just an empty pot, right? Of course, after finishing the story, we know the reason why. The reason why the emperor is so astounded, so amazed, so greatly surprised, so astonished, so stunned, even so flabbergasted by Ping and his empty pot is that he knows Ping is the only one who is telling the truth. All of the other kids are lying. Here's an unrelated sentence. The magician's trick left the audience astounded. Astounded. They can't believe their eyes. They are stunned, shocked, astonished. They are flabbergasted. Love that word. Just for fun, let's draw a picture of someone who is astounded down here. They are just totally shocked. They cannot believe their eyes. Maybe they are seeing how much their English is growing when they use English is easy with Connor. Integrity is a very complex, very powerful word, meaning the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Okay, that might be a little tricky, a little tough, a little challenging to understand. Some other ways of expressing this idea of integrity could be honesty. Yeah, they are pretty similar, these words. Honesty, uprightness, virtue, and here's my favorite synonym, moral backbone. Backbone, right? You can think of your spine. We say that if somebody has backbone, then they have integrity. They are an honest person, a morally upright person, a morally virtuous person. They have principles. In other words, they have a clear sense of right and wrong. Another way of thinking about this could be they have a strong conscience. A strong conscience. Yeah, they are very aware of what is right and what is wrong, and they believe in doing the right thing. Now, someone without any moral backbone, someone without honesty, without virtues, without principles, without integrity, we could say that they are dishonest. They are full of deceit. Maybe they are even full of corruption. These are very strong words, basically meaning that they lack a sense of right and wrong, or even that they choose wrong over right. We all know dishonesty. It means not being honest, right? Not telling the truth. Deceit is another way of saying lying to people. Corruption is slightly different. It's a bit stronger. The idea of corruption is that honesty has been eaten away. Integrity has been eaten away. It has been dissolved. It has been eroded. It has been broken down, right? Maybe a person used to be full of integrity. They used to have a moral backbone. Let's say a politician, for example, when they first got into politics, the reason they got into politics was to make the world a better place. But then big companies offered them lots of money and corrupted them. Big companies corrupted the politicians. So, after you've been corrupted, maybe you choose the wrong way over the right way in order to obtain some money, to get personal gain, right? In the story, we saw only Ping had the integrity to come forward with the truth. So, Ping was the only one with a moral backbone. He was the only one who was honest with the emperor. He came forward and he said, hey, you know what? Actually, I couldn't grow anything, and this is the result of my year. I tried my best, and unfortunately, nothing happened. All of the other kids tried to deceive the emperor. They tried to lie to the emperor. They were full of dishonesty, we could also say. They were not telling the truth. And here's another example sentence. The leader was known for his integrity and fairness. Yeah, this is the kind of leader you want. You want an honest leader, a virtuous leader, a leader with moral backbone and integrity. I drew a very silly little picture down here. We can see a person who has to make a decision. Their friend is hanging on to the edge of a cliff. Their friend needs help, and at the same time, we can see over here a villain. A bad guy is sneaking over, trying to steal their money. Well, they take a look at both options. They can save their money, or they can save their friend. And what do they choose to do? They choose to give up their money in order to rescue their friend. So we can say that this is a person with lots of integrity, okay? Trembling is our final vocabulary word. It means shaking involuntarily. Honestly, involuntarily might even be more difficult than trembling. If you do something involuntarily, that means you do not volunteer to do it. You have no choice. You do it even though you did not make a decision to do it. So, if you are shaking involuntarily, that means you can't control it. You cannot control the fact that you are shaking. This is often due to fear or nervousness, but honestly, there are so many different reasons someone could tremble. Maybe they are trembling out of excitement, a little kid going to Disneyland. They are trembling because they're so excited, right? So there are some positive ways we could use trembling as well, not only negative. We could also say quivering, shivering, or shaking. These all mean the same thing. It means you're doing this. You are shaking, you are trembling, you are moving very quickly like this, okay? And if you're doing that involuntarily, that means it's against your will. Antonyms, opposite words, we could say steady. Here's a trembling hand, Here's a steady hand on the other side. Here's a shaking hand. Here's a firm hand on the other side. A quivering hand on this side, an unwavering hand on the other side. Think about a surgeon, right? A surgeon needs a steady hand when they are performing operations on sick patients, right? They need an unwavering hand. If a surgeon is making a cut with a knife and suddenly their hand shakes, their hand quivers, their hand shivers, their hand trembles, then that could be a big problem. In the story, we saw that he presented his empty pot to the emperor while trembling with fear. Yeah, when Ping is showing the emperor his empty pot, he's shaking involuntarily. If he could stop shaking, he would stop shaking, right? But it's involuntary. He can't control it, okay? He can't stop. She was trembling with excitement before her performance. Okay, so here's an example of a positive use of trembling. She was trembling with excitement. On Christmas morning, kids are trembling with excitement, with happiness, with glee, because they run downstairs, they see a bunch of presents from Santa Claus, and they are so happy, so excited that they are shaking involuntarily. They can't help it. Guys, if you're still with me, take your hand, give yourself a pat on the back. As your YouTube English teacher, I'm really proud of you guys who have made it this far in the video. You're doing awesome. Let's keep going. Now, we are not going to have a quick read of the story. We are going to have a deep dive. It's time for the deep dive, guys. But make sure you keep watching all the way till the end of this video, because we're also going to have a quiz and some speaking practice as well. So keep going, all right? Now, let's take a look at this. Once upon a time in ancient China, okay, there was an emperor who had no heir and needed to find someone to succeed him. Okay, here's a pretty tricky word, heir. An heir. We could also say a successor, someone who is going to take over after him. You know, the emperor is kind of like a king, kind of like a ruler. In this story, in ancient China, this king, maybe he is getting old. Maybe he is nearing the end of his rule, the end of his life. And it's important that he finds someone to take over after he's gone. He needs a successor. He needs an heir, someone to succeed him. We could also say, so what does he do? He came up with a clever plan, a smart plan, an intelligent plan to find the most honest child in the land, a child of virtue, a child with a moral backbone, we could also say, right? A child who will tell the truth. The emperor called all the children together, handed each of them a seed, okay? Just a little seed. You guys know seed, right? You plant it in the ground, you give it some water, you give it some sunlight, and then it grows into a flower or a plant. Take this seed home and plant it, he said. After 1 year, return or come back and show me what you have grown. Show me the results, in other words. Show me what you were able to come up with. Come up with. What were you able to do? What were you able to create? The child with the most impressive plant will be my successor. Okay, we just talked about this word successor. The child with the most impressive plant will be my heir, will be the person who will be king after me. Okay, so the most impressive plant, that's what the emperor is looking for. What does impressive mean in this context? Could mean that it's the most beautiful, could mean that it's the largest, could mean that it's the most breathtaking. The child with the most impressive plant, the child who is able to come up with the most impressive plant will be my successor, will succeed me. Then we're introduced to Ping, a kind and hard-working boy, an honest boy, as we find out later. So Ping is really excited about this challenge. Yeah, this contest, It's a bit like a contest, right, that the emperor is hosting. So what does Ping do? He takes a seed and he nurtures it every day, like a mother nurturing a baby, right? He's making sure it has enough sunlight, enough water, and this part of the story is really cute, really sweet. He even talks to it. Maybe he sings to it, right? He's treating it like a child, like his own baby, hoping that it will grow, trying to give it lots of love and care because this is very near and dear to his heart. Remember that expression from earlier? Well, days turned into weeks, weeks into months, but Ping's seed did not sprout. Sprout means come out of the ground for the first time. So Ping is looking at the ground, he's nurturing the seed, watering it, giving it sunlight, talking to it, doing everything that he possibly can, but it still has not sprouted. It still has not popped up out of the soil, out of the ground. So he's still waiting, and it feels like he's sitting on pins and needles. Now, Ping still does not give up. He tries different pots, different receptacles. We could also say to put the seed in, put a plant or a flower in. This is a pot right here. So he tries different pots. He adds new, fresh soil. He adjusts the amount of water. So he is tinkering with a lot of different factors here, a lot of different elements, okay? Basically, he's trying a lot of different things. He's adjusting this, he's adjusting that. He's tinkering with this, he's tinkering with that, making small changes, small adjustments, trying everything he can possibly think to try, but still, the seed remained stubbornly lifeless. I love this sentence. Yeah, the seed remained or stayed lifeless, and it feels like the seed is being stubborn, like it's being hard-headed, almost as if the seed is alive and it's making a conscious decision, a conscious effort to not sprout, to not give Ping what he wants. So Ping started to feel disheartened, discouraged, dejected, dispirited, especially when he heard other children boasting about their tall plants and bright flowers. Okay, so boasting, the other kids are already showing off. They are bragging. They are, of course, lying. We know that they're lying, but they want all the attention. They obviously want to be the emperor's successor. They want to be the heir to the throne. And so they are making sure that their plants, their flowers are the talk of the town. What does that mean? Talk of the town. That means, everybody is obsessed with it. Everyone is talking about it. And obviously they want their flower, their plant to be the talk of the town in order to get the emperor's attention, right? As the year passed, Ping's pot was still empty and he felt a mix of shame and nervousness. So Ping is feeling really disheartened at this point, and he's nervous too because he's thinking, oh my gosh, when I go and present my pot to the emperor, present it to the emperor or show it to the emperor, I'm going to be a laughing stock. What's a laughing stock? That means everyone is going to make fun of him. He's going to look so foolish. He's going to be a total laughing stock, we could say. He thought about using another seed to grow a plant. He thought about cheating, in other words. So it did cross his mind. He did consider it, but ultimately, or in the end, he decided against it. Why? Because it wouldn't be honest. Because it went against his virtues. It went against his principles, we could also say. On the day they were all to return to the palace, You can think of this as they were all supposed to return to the palace, or they were all asked to return to the palace. Ping walked slowly, his hands trembling, shaking, quivering, shivering as he carried his empty pot. Oh no, this is terrifying for Ping, right? When he arrived, or got there, in other words, the palace was full of children holding pots brimming with impressive plants. I love this word brimming. It means that these children, the pots they are holding are filled to the brim. Let's pretend that this is a pot, right? If something is filled to the brim, then it's filled all the way to the tippy top. This is the brim. So if the pots are brimming with impressive plants, it means they are filled all the way up and overflowing with impressive plants, exploding with impressive plants, like the plants and flowers that the other kids have brought to the palace are so impressive. They are breathtaking, mind-blowing, right? They look so amazing, so good. Of course, this is really discouraging for Ping. This makes him feel even worse because he is comparing his seed to their plants, right? He's like, oh my God, how can I even show my face here? How can I even show my face? This is so embarrassing. He's thinking, maybe I should just go home. Maybe I should turn back. But he stood firm. He was unwavering, and he joined the line. He's getting ready to show the emperor his empty pot and tiny little seed that never grew at all. The emperor walked through the rows, observing, or taking note of, we could also say, each child's pot. So he's checking out all the pots, taking a look at every pot, observing each child's pot, taking it all in. He's taking it all in. He looked impressed at the colorful blooms and lush greenery. Lush, this word is pretty fun. If a plant is lush, that means it's a very vibrant green, a very healthy green, a very striking green, we could also say. Basically, it looks really healthy. But when he reached Ping, the emperor's expression changed. Yeah, his expression, the look on his face. We could also say facial expression. He was astounded. He was blown away by, we could also say, he was blown away by the empty pot. Yeah, he was so surprised, and he asked, "Why did you bring me an empty pot, Ping?" The emperor is not confused, but he wants to give Ping one final test. Ping's voice shook, trembled, quivered as he replied, "Your Majesty, I tried my best. I nurtured the seed with care. I really tried to baby the seed," right? We could also use baby as a verb here. I really babied the seed. I used a lot of love and care, but it just wouldn't grow. I didn't want to use another seed because it would be dishonest. That wouldn't be honest. In the room, you could hear a pin drop. The emperor smiled, looking proud. Love this expression. You could hear a pin drop. That means it was totally silent. It was completely quiet. It was so quiet, in fact, that if somebody was to drop a tiny little pin, dink, you would be able to hear it. That's how quiet it was. "Children," he announced. So he's announcing this. If you announce something, then you are letting everybody know. You are speaking to everyone who is present, everyone who is there with you. The seed I gave you all was boiled, okay, and it could not grow. So this was the trick that the emperor came up with. He took all of the seeds, he put them in a pot of water, he turned up the heat, the water boiled, and that made the seeds unable to grow, right? Of course, if you boil seeds, that destroys them, and they are unable to grow, unable to sprout. All of you, except Ping, replaced the seed I gave you. So in other words, all of you cheated. All of you used a new seed, a healthy seed. Only Ping had the integrity, the honesty to come here with an empty pot. He shall be the next emperor. Shall is kind of an old way of talking. It just means will, okay? But people don't use this word anymore. He will be the next emperor because he has shown true honesty. We could also say displayed true honesty. He has displayed true honesty. The crowd gasped. That's a gasp. You're really shocked. So they gasp in surprise, and Ping's heart soared with relief and pride. His heart, his emotions soar into the sky, right? With relief. So he's relieved. He feels like, much better. He was worried. Now he feels better. And pride. Yeah, he's proud of himself. He knows that he did the right thing. So right now, his heart is soaring. We could also say he's on cloud 9. He feels tremendous. He feels incredible. He feels great. Part 4, the vocabulary quiz. Let's check and see how well you paid attention to today's target vocab words. Number 1, the emperor was what when Ping presented an empty pot? It's one of today's vocab words in 3, 2, 1. The emperor was astounded when Ping presented an empty pot. He was greatly surprised, in other words. Question number 2, she felt what after losing the match, but she promised to try again. Which of today's vocab words could this be? She felt something after losing the match, but she promised to try again. 3, 2, 1. Disheartened. Okay, she lost hope. She lost confidence in herself after losing the match, but not completely. She promised to keep going, to try again. Number 3, the teacher praised him for his what when he admitted his mistake. Ooh, just like Ping being honest, the teacher is praising this kid for being honest. So he has what? The teacher praised him for his what? In 3, 2, 1. Integrity. Integrity. The teacher praised him. We could also say she commended him. She said he did a great job, basically, because he showed integrity. He showed honesty. Number 4, the child was something as he stood before the principal of his school, right? Unsure of what would happen, okay? So the kid is standing in front of or standing before the principal of his school. Maybe we could also say like the headmaster of his school. And he might be in trouble here. He's unsure of what's going to happen. He's very nervous, obviously. So he is what in 3, 2, 1? Trembling. We could also say shaking, quivering. Another fun expression is shaking in your boots. Shaking in your boots, right? So we could also say the kid was shaking in his boots. Okay, final question here. He carefully what his project to ensure it was perfect for the science fair. In 3, 2, 1, he carefully nurtured his project, carefully tended to, babied his project was another verb we used today. He carefully nurtured his project. Why? To ensure or make sure it was perfect. For what? For the science fair. Here we are at the final part of today's video. If you guys are still with me, you are doing so amazing, and I really appreciate you for watching all the way through. You know, a lot of my students, they tell me they don't have opportunities to speak. They don't have environments to speak in. They don't have people to speak with, right? So I try to provide that in my videos. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond to a couple of different questions, okay? I want you to really push yourself to talk for the full 30 seconds. Fill up that entire 30 seconds. And bonus points if you can use one of today's vocabulary words. I'm going to go first and give you a demonstration of what I'd like you to try and do. Our first prompt is briefly retell today's story in your own words. I will go first. Here I go. Okay, so in the story, The Empty Pot, we have an emperor who's trying to find a successor. Now, he has a clever way of doing this. He gives a bunch of boys seeds, but these seeds have been boiled, right? And he says, whoever can grow the most amazing plant will be the successor. Well, only one boy is honest that he can't grow an amazing plant. He displays real integrity and honesty, so the emperor picks him. That was my 30-second retelling of the story. Now it's your turn. Give it a shot. Here's my second discussion question for you guys. Do you remember a time when you were left feeling disheartened? What happened? So once again, push yourself to speak for the full 30 seconds, and I will go first to give you a demonstration. Here I go. Yeah, you know, when I first started doing YouTube, it was very disheartening at first. It was very discouraging because nobody was watching my videos, right? But I kept going. I didn't give up. I kept pushing, and, you know, my channel started to have some growth, started to have some success, and now I'm astounded that I have almost 150,000 students. I never dreamed I would have that many students. That was my response. I used disheartened and I also used astounded. Now it's your turn. Push yourself for that full 30 seconds. Go ahead. One final question for us to talk about today. What is a giveaway? A giveaway or a sign that someone is a person of high integrity, or someone is a person with lots of integrity, we could also say. So what's a sign? What's a giveaway? How can you tell that someone has lots of integrity? I'll go first. Here's my 30 seconds. Okay, so in my opinion, a giveaway, a sign, an indicator that somebody has lots of integrity is when they are willing to admit their faults, admit their mistakes, right? You know, as adults, as human beings, we make mistakes all the time. It's just a natural part of being human. But if someone is willing to say, I messed up, then that shows me they have lots of integrity. That was my response. Now it's your turn. Push yourself, guys. Go for it. Now, as a reminder, if only 1% of my viewers became channel members, I could quit my job and make videos full time. That means more content for you guys, higher quality content for you guys. It's a win-win, right? So please consider supporting me and my work here on YouTube by clicking join here on YouTube. Click the join button to become a channel member, or you can go to my Patreon and become a member there. Now, there are some real benefits to becoming a member, like you get PDFs for all of my lessons. You can use these PDFs to preview before you watch one of my videos, or review after you watch one of my videos, or to personalize my lessons and make them personal to you, okay? You can also get access to hours of bonus content, hours and hours of videos that are not available to the public, including Super Sentences number 5, Learn with a Story videos, speaking practice videos, Learn with a Book summary videos. There's already hours and hours of content there, and I'm always adding to it as well. Plus, another reason to become a member is just to support me as your YouTube English teacher, right? Online courses, private lessons, group lessons, apps. Guys, don't spend hundreds of dollars to reach English fluency. You can become a channel member right here at English is Easy for the price of a cup of coffee, $5. Okay? That is a worthwhile investment in yourself as an English learner. And like I said, give my videos 1 week. I promise you will see a difference before and after if you really apply yourself. If you're in the middle of a study session and you want to keep going, I'm going to put another one of my videos up on the screen. Go click on it and I'll meet you there. Let's go.